Quarter one was very interesting, predominantly because of all the pressure outside with the cost of living and the Ukraine-Russia situation, and that slight nervousness in the market. But and not as many properties as we'd like to see, more buyers than we've seen for a long time and fewer properties. It's created a real pressure in the market for sales. Something like 46% of properties now are selling for over asking price at the moment in the southeast. And just nipping into quarter two, we've seen a slight change at Easter with more properties coming on, and if that's a continuation, then what you'll see is some sort of equalisation in the market with more properties and fewer buyers, therefore create less pressure on prices. Certainly at the moment, house prices are still increasing marginally. I think maybe the real acceleration of prices has maybe just slowed. I mentioned earlier about more properties coming to market. That will be very relevant in terms of holding prices back. And there comes a point when things just become unaffordable, particularly for first-time buyers, and that's a situation we really want to try and avoid. Quarter two, as I said, I think maybe house prices will just start to slow in terms of growth, and I think that's a good thing for the market. Everybody wants to make a profit, but equally not at the expense of destroying the aspirations of first-time buyers who want to get on the property ladder. Yeah, it's certainly indications early in the around Easter, and traditionally also there's more properties coming to market. We've seen that in the last week, 10 days, and even though it's a very tiny moment in time in the property industry, it does give you an idea of maybe where it's going. So we doubled our numbers of property to market the last 10 days, as in week on week. So that's really encouraging. New homes is interesting in that regard because I think there's been a drift from people who might have bought second-hand homes to new homes because they're building them now. It's real. You can make a reservation. You might be able to move in June or November or even next year, as long as you can make accommodation arrangements in between time. So a lot of new home sales, maybe more so than they would normally be expected due to the lack of property stock in the second-hand residential market. That's a scary question because it impacts everybody, obviously, whether you're thinking of buying or selling. I still think you'll move on. I don't think you'll be impacted if you're thinking of buying or selling. You'll still do that. I think other issues crowd in and confuse your thoughts as to whether you should do it now or not. Cost of living, we all know what's happening. It's just going to cost us a whole load of money more every month, every year, and it's going to go up again in the autumn. That's where it'll really bite, and it'll start hurting. So no, the property market won't be affected, I don't think, in terms of people's aspirations to move. They will still move. Well, obviously we've pretty much centred on the city of Brighton and Hove, and we have an operation running in mid-Sussex based out of Hurstbury Point. So certainly north of the Downs, Hurstbury Point, Sussex, Hawthorne, Sayers Common, those villages around Ditchling, Clayton are all really popular, particularly with people coming out of Brighton and Hove. The hotspots in the city, Hove traditionally is obviously everyone. Not everybody wants to live in Hove, but sometimes it feels like everybody wants to live in Hove. But we've certainly got some real good activity in Portslade right now. It's a little bit cheaper. People get better VFM, so you can buy a two-bedroom Victorian house in Portslade, whereas you might be able to buy a two-bedroom flat in Hove. So we're finding Portslade to be a really hot spot. And also Rottingdean. People who families, a lot of family homes, nice, just out of the city, but easily transport links are fantastic. So Rottingdean as well. If you want to buy family homes with gardens, somewhere to work from home, post-COVID, it's really important with people not going to work every day, or they're still working at home. I mean, they want to be able to have a space at home, it's a shed in the garden or a corner in the house, a study, and the balcony, if you're in a flat, you'll be on a balcony or somewhere you can get outside. I don't think we're expecting lockdown again, but people were quite scared by that. And if you spend a month or two in a flat without getting out much, then I think you'll be looking for a trend would be to be looking for a new home with an outside space. I think it's really important you sort of set your price limit. You need to make sure you've got the funds in place with your mortgage or bank or cash funds, whatever you have. Get them set yourself a level and then go into the market. Right now, as I've said, prices are pretty much a guide. You'd expect to pay more than the guide price you see on the paper, so have that in mind. And if you like a house, just buy it. 10 or 20 or 30,000 doesn't really matter in the overall scheme of things. You're going to be there for maybe in a home or in the property market for 25, 35 more years. Whether you pay 10 or 20,000 pounds more, it just at that moment in time seems a lot, but actually over the period of your property ownership will be a drop in the ocean. So buy with your heart, maybe a little, rather than anything else. Sell. Do it now. The market's really hot and prices can only really go one way now. I think we've probably pretty much peaked in terms of price. So if you're thinking of doing it, do it now. I've been in the business as Mishon Mackay since 1987, 35 years now, and counting, still here. And we've got 7 offices in the city, including one in mid-Sussex. So if you're thinking of buying or selling or indeed letting a property, we'd be delighted to help. We've got some fantastic people working on the ground in our offices, and they're all ready to help you find your next home, or indeed, if you're a landlord, to let it. So please give me a call. I'm Alex Mackay, and you can email me at alex@mishonmackay.com. Thank you and have a good day.